Oracles of Olympus. Welcome to Oracles of Olympus, the podcast of all things in miniature wargaming, role-playing, board games, and general nerd culture, all with a taste of cynicism, sarcasm, and nerdy banter. Please join Kyle, Ryan, CJ, and GM Drew as we break down all the stuff.
And hello and welcome to episode 9 of Oracles of Olympus.
Episode 9, not the Ocho.
9, Nina.
Nina?
Yeah.
Alright.
9, Nina. You gotta call them out like they do at a craps table. Like they have something they say for each number.
They do have something
Yeah.
for each number. I'm more of a roulette guy, though.
Are ya?
Yeah, I play a lot of roulette when I'm in Vegas. Like I like watching the little ball.
You would like the little ball spinning around.
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
do.
that's classic Kyle.
Yeah.
I just realized Kyle is like part cat. Little balls and little moving things. He's just like, yes.
Mostly balls, I guess, but yeah.
Things spin around and whir and buzz and jingle. All about it.
So we've got a cat and we've got a manatee, so what am I?
I don't know. Sloth.
It's gotta come organically, man.
It's gotta, we just gotta develop.
Can't force it.
I mean, the thing is, I think you're both equal because a cat in the ocean with the manatee, I think the manatee wins. But
we're fighting?
Yeah, and then on land, though, the manatee just stuck there, and the cat, like, runs up, is, like, pawing it in the face, and runs away before it can, like, try and chomp on it.
It's like,
So, and with that, hello, everyone. I'm CJ.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Ryan. Sorry, I was drinking water.
In his gigantic milk jug of water.
It's a water jug.
But it looks like a milk jug.
Everything Ryan does is big size, everybody.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
I mean, you are the only person I know that carries around a gallon of water.
Well,
at a
it's
time.
easier. It's like, oh,
I get it. You don't have to
I have
refill
drank
it.
a gallon today. Oh, I have drank a half gallon. Like, I can just look at it and know how much water I've drank.
I mean, I appreciate it. I understand why you're doing it.
Oh,
It's just funny.
It is funny.
Like, it is an abnormal amount of water to see someone carrying around. Like,
To somebody who's not a regular at a gym,
sure, I'm a regular at my gym. Mine's just not a powerlifting gym.
Dude,
I guess the difference
right,
is
yeah.
if you were to look at all of the people who come into our store a week, only one of them carries a gallon jug of water.
Yeah.
So that makes it out of the
It does
normal.
make it out of the
And
norm.
If only one person came in wearing a fursuit every week, it would be out of the norm.
so you're saying my water jug is my gym fursuit?
Basically,
It is your
no,
gym
well,
fursuit.
thankfully, nobody comes in wearing a fursuit because that just creeps me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been able to see like a fursuit, like a furry, and not be like, that's super weird. I don't know what's going on. Like,
Even at gaming conventions, they're weird.
it
They
really
are.
Is. You know what it makes?
There was the one at Genghis that was like squeaky hands
And, like,
trying to come after you.
hanging
Yeah.
out with kids and stuff. It was like, this is super awkward. Like, you like to go to sex parties in that suit, and here you are hugging kids.
Ew.
Awesome.
Like, look, I'm whimsical and fun. You're like,
Yeah.
that's actually a
Ugh.
sex fetish.
Yeah, right.
You know,
That's
it's the
super
type
weird.
of thing where if you run into Mickey Mouse, as long as it's a Disney World, it's cool. But a dude wearing a Mickey Mouse suit, just like in Colfax Avenue in Denver, not
On
cool
Colfax,
anymore.
it's
Yeah,
really specific.
not cool
I have a
anymore.
specific clientele.
Furries kind of are like my fall of Rome scenario.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how you know society has kind of gotten like really depraved. It's like we need to dress up as crying foxes and have sex. Like fall of Rome, man. Like Rome got really decadent, and then the whole thing collapsed. Here we are. Furries are our Nero or whatever, I guess.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
When it
I'm-
starts
I'm still
becoming
stuck at-
mainstream, we should be worried.
I'm
It's
still stuck
pretty
on the Mickey Mouse on Colfax Avenue.
Mickey Mouse on Colfax.
It's
That's-
just
I told
walks
you
up-
you'd be worried. Like, is that mouse going to shank you? Is he
Someone
gonna...
pulls up, they're like, you want a party?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You guys want to buy some crack?
No? Okay.
How about some meth?
Get in the car. Okay. Yes.
It's 100 for straight sex. Like Mickey Mouse on Colfax. He's like,
it's 400 for the night. It's 450 if I bring in Pluto. If you want Minnie, that's off the table.
it's off the table. Mickey Mouse on
I gotta provide
Colfax.
for my mouse family.
Could you imagine Mickey Mouse dirty talking? Oh, I'm not going to go into it.
It's 200 for oral. It's 400 for straight sex and 600 for half and half. Mickey Mouse.
$20 for an old fashioned.
Thank you. You got it like. I can't stop thinking about like Mickey Mouse like
I gotta take off the big glove.
Oh, we've ruined a beloved childhood icon.
Good job, everybody.
Take that, Disney.
Welcome to episode 9, everybody.
We're
we
keeping
get
it classy.
real weird. It's all downhill from here.
What do we have on the agenda, Drew?
So we're gonna talk some miniatures. We're gonna talk Legion. Let's start out with that.
Let's talk Legion.
We have Star Wars Legion is starting in 2 weeks from when we're recording this. So
It's like a week and a half from when you'll hear it in the future. Tom.
right,
Yeah, to all of you people in the future, get ready to play
present.
Legion.
blows his mind.
They're in the
Absolutely.
I'm
present.
trying to think of when they'll listen to this and calculate the future times.
They'll listen to it on Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday.
It releases on Wednesday.
So
Some
it
people will
wouldn't
hear
be
it on
next
Thursday.
week.
So on the 23rd. Is
Yes,
when
let's
Legion
use
comes
dates.
out.
That works. I was trying to think of weekends based on when they'll listen to it. I'm like, this is really hard. So, the 23rd.
Right. So I watched some stuff on Legion this week. If you guys don't know who Rodney Smith is, he's a YouTuber who puts out a show called Watch It Played, and he shows you how to play games. He doesn't do any type of review stuff. He just teaches games, and he's really, really good at it. Fantasy Flight Games has...
I wish I could do that for a living.
I know. Has hired him to do a Legion series, and he finally showed how to put your minis together in one video, how to assemble your army in another video, and this one was the actual rules of the game and how to play.
Bell
Okay.
Lost Souls did an interesting like how to build an army.
They did.
article this past week too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good article too.
It was. I guess for me, I was really surprised at the number of models. It was much smaller than I thought it was going to be. Because like the couple like the example armies they did, one was like Vader, 3 stormtroopers, and a walker. They're like nailed it, 1,000 points.
Yeah, they're
Holy
800.
crap.
800 is the 1,000.
Or maybe they're doing
in,
800.
in FFG. And
So, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fun.
the more I
looks cool.
watch and the more I'm reading, I'm buying into the hype.
Yeah.
And I think it looks fun. It looks obviously we talked about this last time how it's building on the X-wing mechanics.
Yes.
It's adding a layer of complexity to it that's going to be, for me, it's going to be difficult to get across that hurdle.
A couple extra layers of complexity in there.
The one is
stuff.
the command cards.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be hard to get used to.
It's like the one point I don't understand yet.
Right. Right.
I'm kind of a little lost on it. Do you want to explain what you know about it?
I hate to explain too much because I don't fully understand it myself, but here's what I do know. You get 7 cards to start. Each player gets 7 cards to start with. 4 of them are like general cards that would fit either faction. And then there's 3 cards that are specific to the leader that you've brought. And that leader allows you to do special type of actions, move troops in a certain direction or a certain way, and it also determines who goes first in that round. The game's played over 6 rounds, and so there's that level of strategy that's more than just I'm going to activate this troop, move them, and shoot them. It's one more thing to think about that. Still has me.
It's kind of weird, but I also think that Fantasy Flight, they needed to do something that set their game apart from the other miniature games out there to say, this is why our game is distinct, this is why it's unique, this is why if you like this style of play, you might like our game over, let's say, 40K or Bolt Action or something like that. And if there's anything that they do, it is like card decks and tokens. Yeah. That is their blue light special.
There is a shit ton of tokens in this game.
What? That is so surprising. A fantasy flight game with a lot of tokens? That
They've
seems unreal.
practiced, and I mean, if you look at the other things they're doing, whether they can take elements from their design, they have upgrade cards from X-Wing and from Armada. That's easy. But they're also, in my opinion, they're one of the best companies out there when it comes to some of the living card games like Game of Thrones, Legend of the Five Rings, how card interactions work with each other.
Right.
So taking some of those ideas they've learned and moving them into a game like Legion seems like a natural design element that makes their game more unique.
Maybe. One thing that really looks fun is the actual list building.
Yeah.
All the different options you can. I mean, they have Battle of Lost Souls has an article out just this week about building a list on either side. Just was what's coming out on launch day. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's some flexibility there. If
So quick aside, do you think that they delayed the launch of Legion so that they could have all the stuff hit on one weekend?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. So like, it's kind of 50-50 because right, the Snowspeeder and the ATST come out like a week or two after still.
I didn't know that.
Those are still separate. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, those are still separate.
See, because they have them on the release day card.
On the release information on our distributors, it says they're a week apart.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it could be that they just haven't updated it correctly, so I could
Okay.
definitely be wrong. I don't know. It's
Because
very
I originally
unlikely.
thought it'd just be the 2-player starter set, and then we would get stuff trickling out over the next couple months.
And that's kind of
which
what I
is more
thought too. That's
traditional
kind of how,
fantasy flight.
that's kind of how they've done it. But honestly, I'm glad they're not because
I
I
am too.
think I feel like that was what Armada was like so hard to get into at first because it was just like, here's my 2 ships versus your 1 ship. Like,
Yeah.
and that wasn't as fun. Like, I like the idea of them having a lot of extra stuff out right out of the gate, even if it is essentially duplicates of what's in the starter. Like, at least it'll give you more stuff to.
Are the Snow
actually
Troopers
play
coming
with.
out at the same
So
time?
the Snow Troopers, General Veers, Leia, and the Rebel Fleet Troopers are definitely a separate release. That is the
Right,
second
that's
wave.
okay.
So that is not at the same time.
So if you want to play Imperials, you're not going to be able to just start Snow Troopers out the gate.
No, you'll have to wait
yeah, your troop choice is going to be the troopers.
Yes, yeah, you're just gonna have troopers. Well, I think bikes might be. No, they're probably not a troop choice.
No, there's 2 types of
specialists.
ground troops. There's the not troops, the ground vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
There's I can't remember the word, but it's basically the speeder kind and walker kind.
Well, I think there was support, and then there was like heavy support.
There's that as well.
Oh, okay.
So there's a list on how to build your army and how all these things fit together.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I can tell you I'm excited. We're going to, obviously, for those who don't know, we're going to be at Adepticon. And
Adepticon.
what, 2 weeks?
We leave a week from Tuesday, and I'm definitely not panicking.
Yeah, no, I'm not either, even though nothing's finished. But anyway, they're going. It's kind of looks like to me that Adepticon is going to be like the big release party for Legion for Fantasy Flight,
Which makes sense. It's like
It
the
is.
biggest miniature.
So I'm
convention in
excited
the
to
world.
just see what it looks like there, to just kind of see the initial interest, how many people are playing it.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing terrain that Fantasy Flight sets up. What are they using for terrain? Are they making their
I
own?
am really looking forward to see what they do for terrain because
Yeah.
when they demoed Rune Wars at Gamma last year, it was
God,
on
it was
a
beautiful.
badass table.
Yeah.
Like, it was really cool.
Really?
Oh, it was
Like
one of
the
such a
table,
great
the table definitely sold the game.
Yeah.
On that one, because the game was okay, right? Like it was fun. Like I liked Rune Wars; it was good enough. But like the table was like really just knock your socks off. Amazing looking table.
So I think now I did
wanted
when
to
I
buy
was
the
at
table.
LVO, Fantasy Flight was demoing Legion sets, and they had set up little boards. I didn't get a picture of them, but they had little boards that looked like Endor with some big trees and like a little bunker.
Yeah.
So it looked cool.
I would
so-
like to see a thing that isn't just like Star Wars has so many varying like settings and planets. I'm hoping that we get to see some stuff that isn't just like Endor and like Hoth
Tatooine.
and Tatooine.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like you see those a lot.
Right.
I agree.
Like show me a really cool Camino table, or like there's so many really
The world they fought on in Rogue
phenomenal-
One with the beaches and stuff, that'd be a great table to
Scarif.
fight
Yeah,
on.
Scarif
Yep.
table would be really cool.
I want to see like some cool places, like just indoor,
Mm-hmm.
like indoor ones that recreate
Indoors?
kind of the indoor, like storming a bunker.
He's saying
Indoors
indoor,
or
like
indoor?
Inside a
Okay,
place,
all right.
not indoor.
You know, I could also see Coruscant with if you had a couple levels of height being really
Yeah.
cool to play on, almost like a Necromunda battlefield.
Sure.
That'd be cool.
But to me, one of the really exciting things is, so I'm looking forward. I'm definitely going to play this game, but I'm looking forward to what we're going to see coming out
Yeah.
because there is some great content out there for Star Wars. It's such an expansive universe, so I think it does have a lot of room to grow. And I look forward to, if assuming Fantasy Flight just keeps adding and adding and adding, getting to a point where you can really truly make that force your own. Like that's what excites me in games I play like 40K, that I'm making this army my own. And once Legion gets to that point where you can really say, like, I decided to build an all snowtrooper force or a rebel commando force at this area, that's to me where you really start taking it up a notch.
Right.
In the cool factor.
And we're doing like a little release here at our local shop too.
Yes. And we'll definitely tell you about what we see at Adepticon.
Yeah, absolutely. I expect pictures.
But like a week after.
It'll be All those people in the far-flung future, you're gonna love what we got for you.
The far-flung future. There's two separate futures.
There's two futures.
There's like the immediate future, and then there's the far future.
CJ's concept of like actual time messes me up, man.
I'm 1,000 son, and I want to play the Cult of Time now. Kyle says I stole that, but whatever.
You did.
He can be jealous.
It's cool.
He can be jelly.
Whatever.
So yeah, I manipulate time. That's what I do, Kyle. That's my specialty.
But you don't understand it.
No, it's you who don't understand it, sir.
That's why he's not actually part of the Cult of Time.
Was there some Tau stuff this week?
There's a shit ton of Tau stuff.
Yes.
Right, so
Just
real
a
quick,
little.
I was just going to go over the new releases from this week were the Kanara and the Melusai for Daughters of Cain. So we're done with Daughters of Cain. We've got all the new releases. We have been
building kits.
Yeah, we've been building
gorgeous.
The Blood Sisters, which are the Snake Lady kits, they go together fantastically.
They do.
It is
Beautiful
honestly,
models, easy to build, great instructions.
Super treat to build those models, and they look badass. But we're already done with that. Let's move on to the next thing. Tau, Codex Tau Empires comes out this Saturday, so it'll be basically by the time you guys hear this, like 3 days away. And yeah, Warhammer
so
community.
the immediate future?
The immediate future, yes.
Okay, the immediate future people will be listening to this.
Warhammer community has been previewing them essentially for a week now, and I imagine by the time you're listening to this, they'll be on to previewing Necrons or something else like that.
Can I just say real quick before we launch into this?
Yeah.
I almost feel like we're on the 24-hour news cycle, but for minis anymore. Do you remember a time for 40K when you got one new army every 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, there's 4 codexes coming out this next year, 2 fantasy, 2 40K.
Right.
And we have 3 months to digest
But it'd be
the new models.
like 2 40K, 1 fantasy, and 1 fucking Lord of the Rings.
Yes, so you'd be super disappointed.
Son of a bitch. Do you remember like old White Dwarf?
Yep.
Like, every time, so like in the older White Dwarfs, this is, I mean, like 10 years ago. It's not even that old, I suppose. But they would do, it was still monthly, right? But they would do the entire White Dwarf would be focused on one of the 3 systems.
Yes.
So like you'd get a 40K White Dwarf and you'd be like, yeah, sweet. Like a whole month, like, cause you're gonna wait a whole month to read this goddamn magazine and read the whole thing the first.
There was no internet really then.
Yeah,
you weren't reading blogs.
there
about,
was.
There was, but there were no like Bella Lost Souls or forums.
Sure. Yeah, it was all like DACA. It was DACA. But like the country, like, you wait a whole month to get this book, and then you'd read it all in the first like 15 minutes after it came out. But god damn, it wasn't disappointing when it was a Lord of the Rings issue.
Get a Lord of the Rings
son
issue.
of a bitch, you gotta wait a whole other month. I love Lord of the Rings. It's my one of my favorite stories of all time. I loved the game. But I wasn't ever like down for like an entire month of just Lord of the Rings. Like
you open it up and
because I was
it's
like
just
the only person playing it, so
like some little stupid scenario with Bilbo, and you're just
yeah,
like,
right,
damn
like,
it,
fuck Bilbo Baggins, son of a bitch.
it's not even the young one,
Tom
it's the old
Bombadil,
one.
you can't even kill the guy. Like he literally had rules. Like Tom Bombadil is my favorite rules Games Workshop has ever written. His entire stat line is fucking question marks. They're just like, it literally question marks the whole stat line. They're like, Tom Bombadil can't be harmed. Like, well, that's a real cool.
This is
like,
gonna be a fun mission.
He can't fight, but the way that Lord of the Rings used to work, like he could essentially get into fights, and even though he couldn't hurt people, he could push them around. He's just like a mean, vengeful god, like who'd been drinking, basically. Watching, like he just like you'd have like, here's my army of Uruk-hai and all the ring wraiths, the 9 ring wraiths. Like, what did you bring? Tom Bombadil. He's like walking around the map going, I'm Tom Bombadil, I'll save you from the willow tree. Like shoving people around. Like he just can't be killed. What the hell?
He's basically the mentally challenged bully on the playground. Like he does, he pushes other kids around, but he never completes the bullying. And you can't. He's so big. He's like a Ryan-sized bully, so no one else can defeat him. Like.
But he's actually like basically a hobbit. I think he's Tolkien's version of God. He's just like, oh yeah, I just need like a God kind of character to roll around and do some stuff.
So Tau.
Okay, so Tau.
Tau.
But yes, my point was, we literally just got an entire new, essentially, race with a great book, fantastic models, And it was like 2 weeks, I'm like, done, on to the next thing.
Wait, it was like, it wasn't entirely new? Like,
It wasn't entirely
They were already
new,
a
but
faction, they were just a really limited faction.
back in the old days for GW, this would have like taken us through a year of fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
this is all we would have had.
Right, you're
Like,
not wrong.
enjoy the year of the Snake Lady.
Right.
So, thank you, GW people. If you want to come on, we'll have you on. Talk about why you're awesome now. I mean, you were always awesome. You were just abusive before.
Speaking of like coming on, we'll get into what I saw later. But I was at the movies last night, and it was at a local theater, so there was definitely a shit ton of Jim Weaver ads. And the whole time I was like, "Man, that guy's marketing is just on point." Like, son of a bitch! Like, I can't even think of another reeler anymore. Like, it's just there is only Jim Weaver. Like, who else could I possibly?
We need to hire him to do our marketing.
His brand is strong.
His brand
So
is super
good.
strong.
I also I noticed on the building downtown that's for sale, it says the
Number one properties.
Yeah, the number one property is the old Greer Furniture Building.
Yeah.
It's for lease is just some lady's name who works for Jim, but if you want to buy it, call Jim directly.
Right. You want to lease it? You want to lease it and talk to one of my partners?
Yeah.
You want to buy this bad boy? You call me.
We'll make this happen.
Right?
I
Jim
feel
Weaver
like
is
he's
your
got
man.
the new book, The Art of the Deal. Like
I just want to throw this out there, guys.
Jim Weaver for president.
Jim Weaver 2020.
Yeah.
Let's start the campaign.
Jim, if you love Hometown Boys, we'll help run that campaign. We'll go.
Shit, yeah,
Kyle's
I
from
will.
Chicago. He knows all kinds of dirty tricks.
I got you the Democratic vote on lockdown being from Chicago.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a lot of stuff that isn't technically legal, but
Like
I won't
people
tell
that
if
give you
don't.
trouble, their cars are getting rolled off a
It's
bridge.
not really illegal. It's just
Surprise.
kind of frowned
Oh.
upon.
Yeah, right. Just
You'll be amazed how the dead turn out to vote.
all I can say is I learned a lot from Mayor Daley. I love the Dailies.
Yeah, they're classic.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So Farsight Enclaves is what I wanted to talk about today.
I was like, is that good for Tao?
Yeah, right. Like Tao, it's our section on Jim Weaver and Mayor Daley. Yeah. I hope anybody.
this
else
is
out
an
there
extra
gets that.
wandery around episode today.
A little bit lost. It's daylight savings time, so we're a little.
Yeah, we're a little
messed
disoriented.
up.
Right.
Anyway, moving on. So, I just wanted to talk real quick about the new Tau Empire Codex, and I wanted to talk about the stuff that I thought was coolest out of the Codex. So, if you haven't heard, Tau are getting their new decks, so if you're a Tau player, you can stop feeling bad.
Turn that frown
yeah,
upside down.
the mean men's won't be hurting you for much longer.
Because
Soon things will be back to their natural state.
And
where
yes,
you'll be
you're only
flying
going to
around.
get one battlesuit commander.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Soon things will be back to their natural state where you're flying around shitting on everyone else's happiness and wondering why no one will play games with you.
you're going to be like the diarrhea fairy.
Basically, yeah. So, Farsight Enclaves. If you haven't checked out Warhammer Communities Review, I highly recommend checking that out. They've done a lot of the different Tau septs already. So just kind of want to talk about some of the stuff they can do. Farsight Enclaves have a really, really rad ability called Devastating Counterstrike, which is reroll ones for models with this tenant, because that's what they call their chapter or their tenants, for shooting attacks as long as they're within 6 inches. So if you're not familiar with Farsight Enclaves, it's like the Tau Separatists. They're the cool Tau. They're the edgy, like, I cut my hair differently than the 8 approved haircuts for Tau. Yeah. So they're all about kind of like up close and personal and like really just about as melee as Tau get, which just means short range shooting.
Yes.
Except Tau do get a melee weapon.
Yeah, they have a few melee weapons actually, but
They get a -4 sword.
they do get an
I would love to see, like, you know what I look forward to, Kyle?
What's that?
Is seeing Custodians battling Tau in combat. It's basically like...
It's like watching a
It's like Ryan taking on a bus of toddlers.
Yeah, it's like watching a Mack truck battle a box of puppies on the
Yep.
highway. Like, I wonder who wins. Surprise! Yeah, so there is a -4 AP sword. That's the Dawn Blade. That's only for Commander Farsight.
Yeah.
it
That's
is
like
pretty
their
sweet.
one shining melee weapon.
There's a
in the
couple.
entire codex.
There's a couple good ones in there.
Do
Actually,
they, I wonder if they still have the Onager Gauntlet.
They
Remember
do
that
have
where
the
it was
Onager
like
Gauntlet,
The
yeah.
super fist.
yeah, the super duper
Like
power
the fist of doom.
So the Onager Gauntlet is still a thing. It's actually pretty badass. It's strength 10,
Okay.
AP -4, D6 damage. The drawback is that because it's real heavy and Tower real weak, you only get one attack with it. It's just like, just one tiny little guy in his battle suit trying to swing this thing around.
Sure
But
you can.
the thing you're actually going to see a ton is fusion blades.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a Tau Commander model built in the next 5 years that isn't built with fusion blades because they are insanely good. So fusion blades, also a gun. Basically, it's their fusion gun that they make into a like Halo plasma sword, essentially, right? So as a gun, it's 18-inch range, assault 2, strength 8, -4, d6 damage. Pretty respectable.
Yeah.
It's basically a 2-shot assault multi-gun.
Yeah.
As a melee weapon, it's also strength 8, -4, d6 damage.
Wow.
So it's actually really respectable. Each time you fight with it, you can make 2 and only 2 attacks.
Okay.
So you're not getting a ton of attacks with the thing. But you're not really buying Tau Commanders for their melee prowess.
No.
But the cool thing that
Since you fly, to me, that's more of a thing where you go hit a tank or something and then you run away.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. There's another cool thing that it kind of pairs up with, which is the other special ability that Farsight Enclaves have called Hero of the Enclaves, which is a warlord trait. And it says your warlord can perform a heroic intervention if they're within 6 inches of any enemy units after the enemy has completed all their charge
That's
moves.
interesting.
Your warlord can then move up to 6 inches, performing a heroic intervention, so long as they end the move closer to the nearest enemy model. In addition, if your warlord was charged, or performed a heroic intervention, then until the end of the turn, you reroll all failed hits for them. So you're only getting 2 attacks, but you're getting rerolls on them, and I think that the Tau Commander still hits on 3s in melee. Excuse me. So it makes him actually pretty reliable. Are you going to see like huge melee assault Tau armies? No. Is the Farsight Enclaves going to be dangerous when you get close to them? Yeah, I think they're actually really good. They've got.
So what do you think
the
is the
tricks.
best sept right now, Kyle?
So I really like Farsight.
Okay.
I really, really like Farsight Enclave. That one is really big.
Is that partly, though, because you're a Chaos guy at heart, and you know there's a Chaos weapon directing this, so that makes you like Farsight Enclaves?
It doesn't not make me like them. I also like that they're rebels. That makes me happy. They do what they want.
Yeah.
I also feel that I'm a rebel and I do as I please.
It's that darn Irish blood.
Yeah, it's filled with a terrible, fiery passion.
Yeah.
It's burning passion.
It is.
It is. I really like Farsight Enclaves. Daliath, I think, is the other one that I really like, which is the sept that gets to add 6 inches range to its rapid fire and heavy weapons.
Not bad.
I mean, why not have a fire warrior with a 36-inch range pulse rifle?
Who's the
right?
one that gets to advance and treat the rapid fire like assault?
That's the Orla. That's the white.
That's
and
pretty
red guys.
cool.
It is until you think about. So I thought the same thing. At first, I was like, "Holy shit, this is my favorite sept," and then I was like, "I don't know how much I care because how much rapid fire do you really have in the Tau army?"
That depends on how many base weapons you're using, I think.
Well,
like fire warriors.
Yeah, so I think in my mind you're never taking big squads of fire warriors. Like you're just taking small squads because the real power in the Tau Codex is the toys.
That's true.
Like it's not like, oh man, I carried the day with my handful of fire warriors. You're never gonna be like, oh watch out, here comes 20 fire warriors. You're like, oh look, piggies, and you'll mow them down. Like they're not terrible. Don't get me wrong. Fire warriors are still respectable troops, but they're still at the end of the day tough 3 dudes. Like they're not hard to take out.
That's
and
very
they're
true.
Complete garbage in melee.
Yeah.
Complete garbage. So I don't really know how much I want to be literally running and advancing my Tau Fire Warriors at you when I have a 30-inch range rifle already. Like, I don't have a reason to want to do that.
True.
So we're basically talking like, what are the other rapid fire weapons? Plasma guns?
Mostly.
And I don't,
which are going to be on suits.
Yeah, right. And I don't feel like they really need it. The big deal you get with the Orla Sept, the one thing that is kind of like the redeeming factor is they've got a stratagem that lets one unit shoot twice.
That's a huge deal.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Is it as good as everything else in the army having an additional 6 inches of range? I don't know. I really like the extra range because I think it lets you sit that extra movement out of range of your opponent's big guns.
Yeah, the extra range is really good. Unless you're fighting against somebody who's an all-aggressive assault army in your face, then you're like, well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's
like
certainly
it depends.
that.
I think it's somewhat situational, but against anyone who's trying to play mid-range shooting against you, it's great.
I think it does help against the assault army because it allows you to sit 6 inches further back into your deployment zone, giving you more buffer and still being able to hit.
But a lot of the really good armies now are just flinging, as well as you do with robots. They fling stuff at you.
Yeah, I mean, there's
right
almost
away
everybody's
9
got
inches
a
away.
chance. Yeah.
In fact, I would almost say the assault armies that can't do that kind of have some problems.
But that's also why I think you're not taking big units.
That's true.
Because they're just going to get squished. But,
well,
yeah.
What else do we have on the agenda, GM Drew?
So I think that's it for miniatures this week, but I have a couple role-playing game items I'd like to chat about with you guys.
Yeah.
First one, real quick, is my friends down in Denver, the Spyglass Games. They got and Evil Beagle Games. They got funded for their Savage World setting called Freedom Squadron.
Freedom Squadron.
That's exactly. I gotta show you the promo because it's
I
total.
would love to see the promo for that.
It's total like cheesy '80s GI Joe type rock music in the background, lasers and.
Because one of my favorite things is the idea of bringing freedom to third world nations. It just appeals to me.
Right? Well,
Freedom through superior firepower.
Yes. Thank you, Ryan.
So anyway,
I like to deliver my democracy 2,000 pounds at a time.
Yes. Warheads on forehead, sir.
Yeah, my idea of freedom is putting in a dictator that's loyal to you.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's freedom. For us.
It,
To do what we
depending
want.
on your certain point of view, right?
I am the
I think the word dictator in itself does not imply freedom.
I'm sorry, I'm the crazy imperialist on our group, guys.
So they funded in like 3 hours yesterday, which was pretty cool.
pretty
I'm pretty
good.
happy for them.
I feel like that's like of the big Kickstarters, that feels typical, right? Like funding like crazy fast.
Yeah.
Like if things people are excited for at least.
Yeah, they've got 29 days left. I'm looking forward to see how far they go.
goals.
Other big news in role-playing games is Paizo, who makes the Pathfinder game, announced that they are working and are playtesting Pathfinder 2.0, which they're saying is going to release, like full release next Gen Con.
It's double the paths to find, I've heard. It's
Sure.
twice as many spreadsheets,
So
twice as many flowcharts on how to grapple.
when I read this news, like any nerd, I jumped to a lot of different ideas on why they're doing this and come up with, the cynical part of me goes, it's a money grab, blah, blah,
Of course,
all
I
that
knew
stuff.
that was where it was going. Like, oh man, what is this?
Right.
My mom's not made of money, you know.
Exactly. All my books don't mean anything now.
Oh no, my library of 400 Pathfinder books are worthless. So I feel like a lot of Pathfinder players just go fucking download all that stuff anyway. So. I feel like the days of like the big RPG library are certainly not necessarily gone, but they're in decline.
Yeah. I
Right?
certainly,
Like,
mine.
It's like somebody holds up their iPad like, look at my sweet library. Like, look at all the books I've got.
Isn't that sad, though, a little bit?
Well, for me, I feel like it is because I'm a very tactile person.
I am, too.
I like to
I like
touch
having,
things.
I also
My
like having a
hands.
library
You're
of
like-
stuff. to
You're
look
like one
at.
of those guys. It's like a general who just walks in his war library and he's like, this one.
Yep.
And he just starts grabbing a book and he's like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all about that business.
Ancient Greece and their strategic victory.
So I don't know how many of our listeners lived through the role-playing game edition wars or cared at the time.
You want to give us the background?
I will give a real
Spark
quick
notes.
synopsis, right? So, second edition D&D was popular. It slowly died at like the end of the 80s, early 90s. At that time, the company that made it sold it, and out came third edition. Third edition had with it a
Cool new book.
a cool new rule set, whole new rule set
The book looks like a book.
called
Remember that,
D20.
like, the cover?
No.
You remember the cover of like the third edition Player's Handbook? It looked like a tome. It was
Oh,
like,
sure.
Your book looks like a book. Like,
It's a
that
book
was
book.
the art back in the day. Like,
was a book
Super
book.
cool.
So with third edition, the book came with a license called the Open Game License, and what it allowed other companies to make rules and supplemental material for D&D. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I can't stop thinking about Mickey needing to make money on Colfax.
Oh my god!
Times are hard.
I managed a band
Minnie's
for
not made of
13
money,
years,
you
and it was easier than this podcast sometimes.
Carry on with the edition wars.
So with this OGL, there was lots of other companies making material for D&D.
There
And
was like, I mean, there was D20 everything with
A
the D20
ton.
rule set. Yeah,
A
it was just
ton
like,
of it.
I feel like there was constantly something coming out.
At the height of like 3.0 / 3.5 days, there was probably 3 or 4 books coming out a month
Oh yeah, easily.
of material, of official material. So what happened in, I want to say like 08 or 09, the company that owns D&D, Wizards of the Coast, decided it was time for a new edition. They were abandoning the 3.0, 3.5. Well, that caused a huge split in gamers, and in gamers that liked their current set of rules. And so the company Paizo came along and said, hey, we've got this open game license.
Are you afraid of change? Do you like things staying the same and comfortable? Well, we have a game for you. It's called Pathfinder. Find some fucking paths.
And that's what they did, is people that did not want to jump on the 4th edition of D&D had an alternative to keep playing the rule set that they knew.
Do you think that the Paizo guys, I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you think that the Paizo guys had an inkling of how shitty 4th edition was going to be? They're like, oh my god, we saw the playtest rules and it's just abysmal. It's worse than a dumpster fire. It's like a dumpster fire full of puppies. It's awful.
I'm possibly, but
a dumpster fire in a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's real.
The way I remember it is the rules weren't even out. Like, there wasn't even inkling of what was coming, other than, hey, we've taken D&D and World of Warcraft and made a board game out of it for you.
Did you know that actually the CIA used to use D&D 4th edition to torture prisoners at Guantanamo? They would be like, all right, Habib and Ahmed, you guys are going to play, and you've got to face an endless wave of minions. Oh, and one of you's a warlord, and the other's a barbarian.
So
but it never ends. They have to keep playing D&D 4th edition. That's how you torture people.
I succumbed to that torture
like
many times.
7-hour-long combats in 4th edition. Like,
I hated running it at anything above 3rd level. Was just
it was like, well, 3rd level up to 3rd level.
It was easier to do taxes.
But then, like,
run a 4th
5th level would be like, all right, I activate my at-will power. That triggers your encounter power. You may now move 1 space.
Yeah. Oh, did you move? I've got you marked, so I get to do my thing. Oh, you marked him and you attack. Okay, then I get to do my thing. It was great for players.
Use my hunter's mark. It was like, oh god, it wasn't great for players. I don't know if it was great for players.
I
played a
play.
warlord at first,
DM'd
and it was just like literally, I was like, I didn't do anything with my turn except make other people do things. It was like playing the dispatcher in Pandemic. It was miserable. It was like, what do you do in a fight? I actually stand in the back and direct. I'm a 4th level coordinator. Like, it was so boring.
So Pathfinder gave an alternative to 4th edition, right? And years went by. Wizards of the Coast decided 4th edition is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
so,
it turns out it was just a colostomy bag. Huh,
right.
Shocker.
Yeah, so they went through a whole playtest for, a year, and then came out with 5th edition. So Pathfinder 1.0 and D&D 5th edition have coexisted together. I don't want to get into who plays more of what or whatever that. I don't really care. But now we're getting a 2nd edition of Pathfinder. So for me, my first reaction is they came into existence because they were an alternative to what was being played mainstream. So it'll be interesting to watch what happens as it still an alternative, but it's going to be an alternative to their alternative. Mm-hmm. So
I guess for me, I see it as an evolution to their alternative. Let's take like 5 seconds and just look at it from a purely business perspective. Right?
Okay, all right.
So every game has to update its rules, right? That's how the game survives.
Yes. Well, that's how companies that produce the game survive.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
okay.
I mean,
and how rule sets evolve.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Like, so never changing anything leads to stagnation, and I don't think that's necessarily healthy for a game. But it's important too. Like, if you want Paizo to keep creating the content that you've enjoyed for the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. Then at some point they have to update, right? Because at the end of the day, they are a business and they do need to sell you things so that they can pay themselves. And
else they go out of business and you don't
right?
get to play with their cool stuff anymore.
Right. You're always stuck in,
Hashtag ninth age.
Right. Hashtag ninth age. Yeah. Sad. Some sad grognards.
Sad.
Like, there's still like 15 people out there playing BattleTech, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But so, I think on some level they have to be able to do that, right? But I also think that I don't think it's necessarily a turnoff for the majority of gamers. And I honestly haven't talked with a lot of people about it yet, but I don't think it's a turnoff because it's not. You don't need the alternative anymore, right? Like, it's just an evolution of the alternative you chose. It's not like necessarily a whole new thing. Like, I don't think this is going to be a drastically different edition.
I don't know enough about it. I know there's some changes to the actions during combat and whatnot, but I don't play enough Pathfinder anyway to really have a problem with the rules or anything. So I don't know. It is in effect of I don't know what you guys are doing,
Nothing.
but you need to knock it off.
We might be having a side conversation about Mickey Mouse as a taxi dispatcher.
when you were talking about Pandemic the Dispatcher, and all of a sudden I was like, what if Mickey Mouse is like from the movie Taxi, but a taxi dispatcher? And that's all I could think about for a good 2 minutes, and I could not stop laughing.
I guess at the end of the day, I hope it succeeds because it's just another game that we can play.
Yeah.
I think it will, right? I mean, Paizo has done a good job of, I think, addressing what their fans are looking for, right? As far as I understand, it's really probably going to just be bringing things into line with Starfinder, is my guess, because Starfinder has enough differences from Pathfinder. Mm-hmm. It's not drastic, but it's enough, right?
Sure.
And I think this would probably bring things in line, and I think that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to something's going on in the in that world anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Let's see, what else do I have for gaming? That's all I have for gaming.
We still have our last word.
Last word. Okay, let's do last word.
Last word.
Go ahead, CJ.
My thing for the last word, all right, is, for those of you who haven't heard about it, I'm actually really excited about it, the Harry Potter Miniatures Adventure game.
Yeah,
So-
the news on that this week.
There is. So they start their Kickstarter next week.
And isn't that the Kickstarter that got terminated already?
Is it already terminated?
Yeah. They decided that they were going to go direct from
Really?
website sales instead of Kickstarter.
Okay.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I
Yeah.
like that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Something that'll make Kyle very happy. All
Yeah.
the models, they announced are moving to resin.
Oh, that's good, because
Yeah.
they were originally
Look at
metal,
some of these.
and I wanted to die, because I don't want metal models, because metal is terrible.
They're all resin.
Resin I'm down with.
It's so if you haven't had a chance, go check out their website. It's Night Models. Look at the Harry Potter game. It is beautiful. The models are straight out of the movie. Bellatrix Lestrange, they even got the crazy looks on her face. They have the Death Eaters are great. You're going to be able to play different factions. So the way I understand it, and correct me if you've read more, Drew, is it's actually a board game, but you can. Sorry, folks. Ryan, do you not like Harry Potter?
I hate.
How do you hate Harry Potter?
Harry Potter.
Do you hate America too?
Yes.
And apple pie and freedom?
Yeah, apple pie sucks.
Yeah, I love that.
What's a British story, isn't it?
But here's the thing, though. It is such a beloved thing for so many people, especially in my generation that grew up. I grew up reading Harry Potter. It's such a cool story.
We'll continue.
I'm
Just
a fan, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pretend Ryan's
Ignore
not
the
here.
space
I'm
over
going to put a
here.
hand up so I can't see this commie son of a gun. All right, yeah, you commie bastard. Sit over there in that corner.
Dude,
Okay. So,
No.
yes, it looks really good. Check it out. The models look great. It looks like it's a contained board game where you will play the different factions, and so there's a little bit of an RPG element to it that you solve different things as you're going through, as well as battling. So there's puzzles. To me, it almost looks a little bit like a Betrayal at House on the Hill / Shadespire. I don't know how to describe it.
Huh? Okay.
So, because you do build your own force and you build your own collection of models, but then when you go into the scenarios, you're encountering problems you run into as well as battling the other player.
Terrain effects.
Yes. So I'm excited. Check it out. I will stay up to date on it, and I'll let you folks know in the future what's going to be happening. I'm saying future me will let them know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Ryan, you can take your fingers out of your ears now.
My fingers weren't in my ears. It was just my brains were seeping out of my ears.
I'm sorry you hate quality stuff.
Yeah,
What's your last
What's
word?
your last word?
Harry Potter sucks.
Boom.
Boo, Ryan. Boo.
I hate it. You don't want to hear my rant about it. I promise.
I don't,
I
because
don't.
it's
I'd like
just,
to know your last word.
it's wrong.
That was his
That
last
was my
word.
last
Okay.
word.
Okay.
All right, what do you got, Kyle?
I watched Red Sparrow last night, and holy shit, that is intense. So
I saw it too. It is an intense movie.
It is getting really bad reviews from critics, but the audience reviews right now are 80% positive. Was it a perfect movie? No. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. Yeah. It is.
Jennifer Lawrence was great.
Yeah, she was pretty great. It's an intense movie. Meow.
Yeah.
It is one of the few movies that has actually made me flinch. I was like, oh god damn it!
Are you talking about skin peeling?
There's like a skin peeling
It's
thing
like
in
basically like a cheese grater, but for skin.
Yeah, well, there's a thing for like skin grafts that they use to remove like burn skin.
Sure enough,
burn
those
victims.
dogmen that are Russians use it to torture people.
Fucking savages, dude.
God, are they brutal?
Damn.
I love it. I don't want to give anything away, but Kyle know what I'm talking about. There's a character that dies at the end during exchange, and I love it because it shows how the Russians don't actually... Well, I didn't say what character. The Russians don't hold up to anything. They just plan on, they're going to murder you. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
It's not a spoiler. You don't know who's going to die. A lot of people die in that movie.
There are a lot of dead people in the movie.
Like, there are a lot of dead people, and a lot of them are, like, tortured to death.
Couple of them. So it's not a movie you should take young children
No.
to. It's super
Or the
intense.
faint of heart for violence.
Yeah, like, if you
don't like violence,
if
do
you're
not
all
go see
squeamish
this.
about violence and blood, do not go see this movie.
Or,
But
like, sexual
it is-
assault. Like,
There's a lot of like awkward sexual possible assault stuff going
Kind
on
of
there.
rapey.
It's got some weird moments for sure.
it's a
But
very
it
adult
is
movie.
Intense, man.
Yeah.
If you're looking for like a Cold War kind of feeling spy thriller, which is so true to life now with all
It
the
is.
Russian spies cropping up dead in the UK. Weird. It's intense.
Cheesecake murders and stuff like
Cheesecake
that.
murder, man.
Okay. Drew, what's your last word?
That's a good question. I've talked about a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about this thing. So,
Okay.
I'm excited to keep going and seeing you guys comment and like and post and all that stuff on the YouTubes and iTunes and all that stuff. So,
We love
keep
you.
it up.
Yeah. I guess we'll be back in a minute with the Road to Adepticon, which we'll call the Panic to Adepticon.
The Panic to Adepticon.
Yeah.
And instead of like the normal road to it, it's just alarms. It's like
All right, we'll be back
Maybe
in a bit.
next week.
yeah.
The Road to Adepticon, brought to you by Charleston Chew, Snacky S'mores, and War Bonds. Buy more War Bonds to keep our boys flying. Also brought to you by the M1 Grand. Stack 'em high, boys. Stack 'em high. Join us on our journey to discovery and army building for Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar.
Sorry about the Road to Adepticon.
Yes, the Panic to Adepticon
Panic to Adepticon
is underway.
It's not full on panic yet. It's not like the flighty like, how do I get out of this panic? Like I'm trying to figure out if I can.
Like we're remaking lists like at 11 o'clock
Right.
before we leave. Like,
We're
oh
not-
god, I only have this model.
We're not at the panic point yet where I'm online looking for a doctor's note that I can buy.
Yeah.
To be like, I just can't work today. But it's not, so it's not bad. Okay, so we actually have some stuff done.
We do. We
Right.
do.
The
not a lot.
the Sisters of Battle are done.
Yeah, the Grey Knights are basically done.
Yeah.
The Walkers mostly done.
Custodies, I think, are done-ish.
Yeah.
The bikes are not done. I know that.
No. Mr. Coles is like operating in his own vacuum.
I haven't seen.
He's
RC
basically
in, a
in
little bit.
just like he's the equivalent of our Antarctica base. Like we have no idea what's going on there.
Right.
Things could be good. He could be dead. We don't know.
I'm not sure.
We're not sure. Richard, if you
Daughters-
hear this coming through to you in the future, let us know.
Daughters of Cain are going pretty well.
As in they're primed.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, we literally had to wait till this weekend to get a bunch of them. So.
Yeah, that's true. We did. Oh god.
The
what have
display
we
board
done?
Ace has been working on is actually making quite a lot of
Yes.
progress.
Ace is doing great work on
Yeah,
our
he
display
hammered out
board.
quite a bit of work on that yesterday. I mean that's like we're like
I'm trying to get some stuff ready for my individual gentleman's tournament. I know Ace still has to airbrush his entire army for the gentleman's tournament.
I think he's not airbrushing. He's like doing some like dry brushing or highlighting or something. Because
See, he originally told me he wanted me help airbrushing everything.
Oh, maybe I don't know.
So, which would be classic Ace finishing an army in like 24 hours.
Spoiler alert: that's not going to get done.
So
It's just not going to happen.
it's. I mean, I feel like we're in better shape than we have been some years. Not really.
No.
Not really. It's not too late, Quadrant Overlords.
Yeah, it
Return.
is. Yeah, no, it's way too late. It's
I-
not too late to do Fire Slayers.
Are you kidding me? It's way too late.
No, it's not. They have barbarian.
You also
flesh
thought
primer.
that on the last GT for Fantasy, and I thought you were going to kill yourself that night.
Yeah, but we don't have that many more to paint. That's the catch.
Well, like, what, 60? That's a lot more to paint.
Like 30.
They're naked men with ruins in their flesh.
Flesh primer them.
It's
You pick the runes out gold. It's actually not hard. Here's the catch. Like, my runes took forever because literally my Fire Slayer runes have 4 colors in each rune.
Okay, I guess that's true.
Like, and there's like 12 runes a dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I have a ton of, like, I mean, I did the burning glow effect on every rune. So there's a lot of work I put into them, but...
Let's see. We're going to have a sweet banner.
Yeah, we should have a sweet banner, yeah.
So, and then we're going to... What else are we happening? Oh, we're going to have shirts.
We're
going to have team shirts.
Should look pretty good.
Yep.
I'm definitely excited about that.
We're just kind of trucking forward, and I know this is boring you, Drew. If you joined us in the cool games, you'd get it too.
Drew dabbles.
I dabble.
He does dabble.
I know enough to be dangerous. That's about it.
Yeah. Famous last words.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that was a boring Road to Adepticon statement.
We'll
tell you folks next week, because next week it's the come to Jesus moment.
It'll be
for
literally
Adepticon.
the panic to Adepticon.
It is literally going to be like, oh God, when we record, we're leaving the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll stop measuring things in days and begin measuring in hours.
Yes. Like, we have 48 hours to complete this army.
How much sleep do I need before I drive 18 hours to Illinois?
See, I'm on the train. That's why it's so nice, because I can just pass out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know. I will be journeying, if anyone's traveling, the California Zephyr on Tuesday and listening to this. Come meet me in the dining car. We'll have a great time. We'll get a cocktail,
but only
catch
at your
up.
allotted time to sit in the dining car.
What's that?
Only at your allotted time to
Well,
sit.
then we'll move over to the observation dome, the club car.
Yeah.
And have some drinks. We'll chat. It'll be real classy. I'd invite you to my area, but we're in first class, so you can only come up there if you're in first class. So.
Yeah, you too can buy $12 thimble-sized shots of Jack.
It's not my fault you basically take a barrel to get any effect on it. For me, 2 drinks, and I'm nice and toasty, and the train is wobbling far more than it should be.
Yeah, no, that's not that easy for me.
He's got... I don't get
like
it.
At dinner, I had to order it's like when you go to dinner on the train, like you get like some options, right? Like you can have a beer or like a mixed drink or a half bottle of wine. And I was like, let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's
and it
start
still
with a
did no
half
effects
bottle
to
of
you.
wine.
Like, I've been with you and you're like 5-6 drinks into it and you're like, nothing. I'm 2 drinks into it and I can barely walk and I've got lightheadedness.
Yeah, it was a different experience being on a train. Not horrible, but
it's amazing.
It's an interesting time.
And with that, sounds like a wrap for episode 9.
That's a wrap for episode 9. Bye, everybody.
See you all at another time frame.
We'll see ya.
Okay.